Hey, what's up you guys? This is Rob from the Gay Guy Plays, and today on the Quick Draw, we're doing a little puncturing with our boys at the Red Veil, when we take a look at the Rakta Ballistica. Now, as we all know, the Rakta Ballistica made quite an underwhelming debut. In fact, with its primary damage type being swapped from Puncture to Impact, it was widely regarded as the worst Syndicate weapon in its release batch. However, with the unending pleas from the community, its original damage type has been reinstated with a couple tiny tweaks. So, now that the Rakta Ballistica has gotten its groove back, the real question is, how much groove did it have in the first place? So you can pick up the Rakta Ballistica for 100,000 standing once you've reached max rank with the Red Veil. However, as we all know, unranked Syndicate weapons are completely tradable, so you can either check and trade chat or, my personal favorite, make some friends in the right places, and all you'll have to do is trade a couple favors. So as compared to the original, the Rakta Ballistica trades a little slashing and impact for even more puncture. And as we all know, puncture does quite well against armored factions like the Grineer or the robotic units of the Corpus. Just be aware that it does have issues against Corpus shielding and the Infested. So as always, be sure to use the appropriate elemental combos in order to deal the optimized amount of damage. Now, for those of you who've never used the original Ballistica, let's quickly go over some basics. First and foremost, it's got two different fire modes. Used as a semi-auto, it'll fire a volley of 4 bolts, each dealing a quarter of its charge damage. Note that in this mode, its bolts have a horizontal spread. Charging the Ballistica fires a single bolt dealing full damage and has innate physics impact, allowing slain targets to strike enemies in a line, dealing damage to any additional units caught in its trajectory. Also take note that unlike its bow counterparts, it is not a silent weapon. Its charge shots don't have innate punch through, however its bolts do not arc over long distances like traditional arrows, making it quite accurate just as long as you're good at leading your targets. Now, as compared to the original, aside from the shift in damage spread, the Rakta Ballistica has an increased magazine capacity, allowing you to fire off one more flurry of bolts for a total of 5 bursts before having to reload. It also has an increased critical chance, which allows you to hit the 50% mark with the max pistol gambit. However, do note that it only has a critical multiplier of 1.5, so you may not get as much bang for your mod capacity if you try to outfit it with a full crit build. Now, while the Rakta Ballistica's mechanics are just as finicky as the originals, there is one very unique characteristic. The Red Veil version spreads more viruses than a frat house during rush week. With Blight innately built in, after gaining enough affinity while using the weapon, it will deal 1000 points of viral damage in a 25-meter radius, restore 25% of your base energy, and provide an additional 10% base movement speed for 30 seconds. Now honestly, it was this AoE that really tossed up the red flag for the devs, as with all of the other Syndicate radial effects, it has a 100% chance to trigger its status, which is viral, which halves an enemy's max health by 50%. Now honestly, at lower levels that doesn't mean much, but at higher levels it can be a complete game changer if you manage to find the right loadout. Well, now that the buffs are in, can we talk? Okay, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. As happy as I am to see this get buffed, I kinda wanted it to stay crappy. Hell, I had a whole script about fisting planned out for its gay factor, but unfortunately, that's dead now. I don't know if it's the troll inside me, but I couldn't help but want this thing to continue to be the running joke of Syndicate weapons. For me, it's kinda like dealing with the ex. You know, you put on the happy face and pretend to wish them well, so that the rest of the world thinks you're a decent human being. But deep down inside, you just hope they get out of shape, age terribly, and live the rest of their life with some form of substance abuse problem. And trust me, that's the toned down version of what I really wanted to say. But see, you never want to come off as the bitter ex, because no one wants to bang the bitter ex. And let's face it, that's the #1 way to retain power after a breakup. Or, much like this review, you could go around telling everyone about their newfound ability to spread lots and lots of viruses. I think I may have shared just a little too much there. Let's get back to the quick draw. So all in all, the Rakta Ballistica itself isn't mechanically too far off from its predecessor aside from its innate blight. It also comes with an additional V-polarity slot, which should help with modding. However, it still retains the deep polarity from the original, which sadly is in a very annoying spot. Now, while I love unique mechanics, I do have to say that unless you're trying to take down a nullifier bubble, its semi-auto burst is extremely ammo inefficient, meaning that the only effective way to use it is with a full charge. And if you're spending time to charge up each shot, it almost makes you wonder why you're not using a bow in the first place. Regardless, my personal feelings aside, the Rakta Ballistica has finally got exactly what we asked for. A whole lot of puncture for penetration. So thank you all for watching another episode of The Quick Draw. Be sure to check out my previous episodes I did on the Secura Dual Sestras, as well as the Sancti Castanas. Now, don't forget to do all the things I ask you to do at the end of every one of these, and as always, stay tuned for more mild trolling here at A Gay Guy Plays. Oh hell no, listen, you are supposed to be dead. Can you fuck off with your goddamn homing rockets? You piece of shit.